what problem do you want to solve? Who do you want to work with? And I do want to talk about messaging tonight. All of this will come together for you to be able to attract in the client that you want to work with. So as you know, I love to create those open spaces that are really supportive. So feel free to offer your opinion. I would prefer more talking than quiet and listening to my voice. I did a recording today on spiral dynamics. So it's an hour and a half. I've spoken enough. Okay, and so so I'm moving everybody's picture out of the way. I forgot about two screens. From my business growth, I can see that there are a lot of people out there that are pushing really, really hard to get their business off the ground. And when it comes to that pushing, it's like, let me get everybody in a room and have a conversation with them, because the pushing is actually what's making it worse to attract in those clients. So when it comes to the gap between the skill set that everybody has in this group and then getting it out there to the right people, it's that gap on that trapeze there that's really stopping you from being able to do the amazing things that you do in your business, right? It's that annoying gap between you being your purpose and your expertise, your knowledge, the meaningful service that you provide versus getting that out to the people. So my question to everybody here comes back to, like, hands up, who knows that gap really well between I've got skills, will anybody play with me? Like, we know that feeling. Yeah, Brooke, I love your response there. Like, yes. Brooke, could you describe to me like how that feeling shows up for you? That gap of like, oh, I've got it, but how do I get it out there?
Yeah, it just kind of goes through, oh yeah, I need to get it out there, don't I? And then going to put it out there, it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing maybe, and then I'm not going to put it out there. And then when you do, yeah, just back and forth, and it's just this loop, and it gets really frustrating.
Yeah. And you're going, for everybody who's listening, you're going from being the teacher in front of the classroom, you got your van, you're going to be an online tutor.
Yes. So it's gonna be different.
Yay, Brooke! That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna be tutoring from a van and being gypsy.
Well, doing
Surprise.
NLP on Tuesday nights is going to be fabulous.
It's gonna be a real mixed bag next year.
Yay. Yeah, well, we're all big supporters of what you're doing, so it'd be exciting to see what comes.
Thank you.
So knowing that we've got a variety of different places on that scale of like too many clients, neutral about clients, to where are my clients, I would just want to check in with everybody. 10 being really, really happy with the number of clients that you're working with, and 1 being like clients, what clients? If you could just take yourself off mute for a second there and just give me where you guys think that you're up to. If we start, my screen has Denise at the top. Where are you up to, Denise?
I'd say about 5.
Yep. Caitlin, or do you want to put your hands up and show me a number?
Probably about a 4.
Yep. Well, we've moved. Brooke?
Probably, yeah, the lower end, like a 3 or a 4 or something.
There's
Be
no
generous.
Judgment. Yeah. Sophie?
Definitely a solid 1.
Okay. Ash?
Well, I was going to say 5, but then I think like maybe a 6.
Yep. Okay, fair call. Because and even me on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, the way that my business has moved, I'm definitely at a 10. Yeah, I'm definitely at a 10. So not to be a show off at all, but it's sort of like I can tell you where I've been, where I've coached other people, how you get to that 10. So typically anybody there that's under that 5, or maybe even under the 3, I'd say, Sophie, Brooke especially, this is a really good place to be in, because at the moment you've got a blank canvas. You haven't been burnt by people to need coaching on those triggers. Is that right, Ash? Denise?
I was just laughing to myself.
I know, the no-shows, those sorts.
Oh, grumpy old women. But no, you're actually in a really good place to really get clear on what you want and to be able to have that defined right at the beginning. If I had a Claire right at the beginning, I would have a lot more hair. I wouldn't be so grey in my hair. But anyway. And for those who are at the higher level, think about Ash. This is a great place to be in, but I would also say that you're now at that transition, that cusp of either raising your price or working with groups. So the focus for somebody like Ash and Denise would be redefining or refining your message, stepping into that leadership, stepping into that confidence in your messaging on why they would want to work with you. And I skipped that. I'm sorry for people like Brooke. Your yes clients are looking for that introductory price, as you were talking there with Caitlin about, an introductory price for a teacher to do tutoring is $100, and that's the introductory basic price. We're going to start there before we move up. Does that make sense for everybody?
Yeah.
I have a question, Claire.
Yeah, please.
So when you start to reach the 6, like that kind of tipping point, do you find that like you get things coming to you like as an invitation of like to expand, like people come to you, for instance, like I've had, I think like 3 people come to me and ask for mentoring.
Yeah,
is
that's
that kind of what happens? And then
yeah. Do you happen to know your human design? Do you happen to know if you're a responder? You don't have to look it up. You could just say no.
No, I'm visualizing it in my head. I don't know. I'm a generator. What is that?
Yeah.
I've got to lower. I think I've got to lower my number down to about a 3 or a 4, because I can't guarantee when I'm getting clients.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that one too, definitely. So Ash, I would definitely say that there's going to be 2 signs. One is going to be a level of burnout. That's your first sign. If you don't address the burnout and make a change, the next stage after that is you start to resent what you do. And overlapping that, the universe will tend to bring in invitations for ideas on what you could be doing differently, because they're seeing the confidence in you, they're seeing what you're doing works, and it's like, teach me. So that's definitely an invitation. Those 3 symptoms of like possible burnout, possible resentment, like and then the invitation. But can you I was going to sound like a comedian then, can you place those? But does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, no, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, no, that's all good. Does that make sense to everybody else?
It makes sense to me, because that's kind of how I feel at the minute.
Burnt out and resentful?
Yeah, a bit burnt out, a bit resentful,
Yeah,
and not as passionate in some ways.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, about what's going on with that interesting dilemma. Any other questions? So then I'm going to go to the next detailed question and this is the only other one that I've got here. On a scale of 10, 10 being the most, really energized about the type of client you're working with, and 1, clients are burning me out. Where are we on that scale? Denise, you're at the top again.
Yeah, I'd probably be a 3 or a 4.
Yep. Caitlin? The clients that you're working with, are they energizing you?
The clients that I'm getting, I'm happy to be working with. Like when I'm getting clients there, they often match me and my strengths. I'm probably just not getting enough of them. Is my problem.
But at the moment, the quality of client that you're attracting is the ones you want to work with?
Yeah.
Yep. That's good.
So probably, yeah, like a 6, 7.
Yep. That's good. Brooke?
The one that I trialed with this year,
Yes.
really, really enjoyed it. I was like, wow, this is my perfect ideal client. So look, yeah, I'll probably, yeah, maybe like a 7 or something. It has got me quite excited though for where it's going, and yeah, I'm like, oh, I want more clients like that. So it was a good start.
Yeah, that's good to know. And then Sophie?
So I would say I'm doing an experiment with 3 incredible women. 2 of them,
One of them's in the group, so it's like, oh, these clients are a nightmare, right?
honestly, 2 of them are, I'm not going to say which 2. And then one of them is I'd say like a 4.
Yep. Okay. So you recognize there's a difference. You're playing with the high 10s and then a 4.
I recognized where I pushed and used force to try to like project that they should do this onto them, and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I'm writing that down. Ash, when you think about the energy that you're getting back from clients?
I'd say about a 7.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Is there any other questions on that one? Oops, I've just pushed the wrong button. So typically, if you've got a 1, if you're down at that lower scale, which we actually don't have much of in this room, yeah, Denise is at that point of needing something to change. But basically you're saying yes to, you're the one saying yes to the wrong client, if that's what's happening. If there's the burnout, the drain, the universe is basically telling you it's time to level up, and there's a barrier that's stopping you from doing that. So there's a level of limitation, scarcity about saying no to the people that are draining you. And again, you're putting other people's needs ahead. So previously, where your business, what you're doing now, would have served you, it's gotten to such a point that there's no more growth, and that's part of the energy drain. It's lacking challenge, I guess you'd say. Does that make sense for you, Denise?
Definitely. Yes, it does. It's because I feel like I need to do something else, always creating.
Yeah.
Accomplished one thing, then let's do something else. But I'm not quite sure what the end is. Maybe there is no end.
Well, everybody in this space is at a risk of what's now being known as that creative burnout, creative fatigue. But if you are working with the people that light you up, creating will feel rewarding. It'll be the juice that gets you up in the morning, like, cool, what can I create today? So so when you have that level of confidence in yourself, what you're putting out there, you'll get back. Then it's not so draining. Does that make sense to everybody?
Claire, I might be jumping ahead here.
No, it's all good.
As usual. Saying no to a client. Can you cover that?
I can cover that. There's a whole, do I need to go and open up the NLP master slides? Because gosh, I had so much fun creating that.
Yeah, I struggle with that one.
Yeah. Putting the NLP masters together for you, and I'm like, yeah, your team is standing behind me and are like, oh yeah, let me tell Ash to do.
Yeah, 100% needed.
Has anybody else been in that position of wanting to, the input, the direct way of saying is to fire a client? Is there anybody in this room who's had to do that?
I don't know mine until they arrive half the time, but you can kind of get a gist with them, with the texting and the emailing kind of vibe. But they're just so difficult about it. And I'm thinking, oh, I can't be bothered. But then I end up doing it. But you can just tell just by their responses in their texts or emails to you.
Yeah.
They're a bit haphazard. So are they going to be haphazard about something else?
Yeah, which then goes to show, if they're haphazard in the first intro, like, that energy is going to continue to ripple out. So like, yeah, no, thank you. I think Sophie knows, and I think Caitlin may know, had somebody in the NLP practitioner group, and she needed to change the session time, and in a nutshell, when I didn't get back to her within the hour, her mother started to call me once, twice, a few times. So she has been, not because of her, but because of getting her mother to call me, or how I'm not teaching her practitioner NLP prac, because I do not want the Wednesday calls from her mother on what I did right or wrong. So that's my recent of firing a client. But the expertise in knowing who's a client and a B client, a C client, and knowing where your value is on saying yes to the A people right up front and no to the C people right up front is challenging for a business owner. But for somebody to be successful, you have to have that level of integrity to let the C people know that you are not a good fit. No matter how much money you're going to throw at me, I'm probably going to end up spending that money on massage and chiro and everything else because I've pushed to make it work. Can anybody relate to that? You brought the energy down. Ash, where did all the energy go? Oh, these miserable.
Sorry.
Can you give me an example of like why that one came up? Is there a difficulty for you with saying no to somebody, or they're pushing your buttons?
Well, it's kind of similar to what you just shared. I took kids off my booking system because I found the parents quite difficult to deal with. Not all, some parents difficult to deal with because the expectations didn't align. Yeah.
Hand them over to Brooke.
I've sent a couple to Caitlin. I don't know if you've
Well, Caitlin, send it to.
Yeah, I'll send them to everyone. But I think one of them came to see you. So
Do you enjoy working with children?
My speaker's cutting in and out. What did you just say, Ash, when you came to see me?
Can you hear me?
Again.
I'll type it.
Shut like every other system on my computer because it keeps filling system resources.
Maybe
so sorry, I'm hearing you.
If you turn your camera off, I'll turn your camera off. You might get more internet bandwidth.
Okay, you might get to look at my cat though. That's sad.
Okay, so
yes, so sorry. Let's try that again.
Ash was saying that she's been sending some people to you.
Okay. I haven't had any kids in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I don't know who this new client is that's booked in until they arrive, so we shall see. Thank you, Ash.
Welcome.
Yeah, and again, that goes to show that there's a buffering of your energy to receive that, Caitlin.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's
and annoying.
It goes back to in your hands though to be able to look at why you would be buffering a client instead of that frantic doubt that can be so consuming. What can I do? It's actually like, well, you can actually go and do self-coaching or kinesiology to find out why you would be buffering, resisting, rejecting clients to come in.
Yeah.
Fun. All right, so I'll get moving on. So my cheeky sense of humor says, if you are super duper energized by your clients, if you've got the right number of clients, what the heck are you doing here? But so basically what holds people back from attracting clients, as I was saying there to Caitlin, your limiting beliefs will get in the way, your imposter syndrome will get in the way, the fear of judgment and the lack of boundaries. All of these things will definitely get in the way for you to attract in the right clients. So normally that would sound like complaints, like why would people listen to me? I don't know what to say. What if I don't do a good enough job? What if people don't like me? So it's going inwards and just ruminating about what are the problems within me rather than focusing on what you do right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the number one thing that I really want to point out tonight is that when you start to stand up and speak your truth, you are definitely going to trigger other people's insecurities and jealousies. So typically, like that tall poppy syndrome. But most of the time, these insecure people that you're worried about the judgment happen to be the ones that are close to you. They've supported you up to now. They know who you are. And so when you start to speak your truth or start to move into a direction that's different, typically you will feel, you'll feel them questioning. And so this is the thing that can start to, especially people in the wellness industry, spiral them into doubt because they have such a desire to serve and help and people please. This is the number one thing that is going to drain your life force and drain your power and take you away from your business. With this in mind, can people sort of relate or talk to this? Like, I'm just happen to go around the room again, but Denise, have you had that experience of like starting to step out and then people wanting to shoot you down?
Well, I'm kind of like with the first slide and that slide, back to that slide, back to that slide. So that's me, because I could feel the energy of some peers out there. You could feel they don't comment on your posts, they don't like anything. So silence is deadly sometimes. But then sometimes you'll get a love heart or something like that and you think, oh, did I get it wrong? Or are they just like doing it because they're fake? I don't know. But yeah, I struggle with that, definitely. I'm in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yep. And I will not to go too much into your privacy, but you've definitely been persecuted by the old chooks in the mediumship industry to get down. You shouldn't be charging money for what you do and all of that. Like you've definitely had to battle through some really old chook mentality.
I'm sure there's plenty out there, the old school, yeah. You can't have dinner and a drink with a medium. You have to sit in a church. Well, with 5 people now, there's no one going to churches, so you got to think outside the box. But anyway, yes, I have had issues, but some people don't say it, but you feel it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing, though. The feeling of it is still saying that there's a button there to be pushed, and that's what's in the energy world. That's actually what keeps you stuck in that lower frequency, because you haven't resolved the button. Like it's still triggering in self-doubt, so you're still stuck.
Like that, am I good enough? Do I know what I'm talking about? I mean, you go to a certain point and you're all gung-ho, and then obviously where I am now, it's kind of, okay, I'm back to that point again. So I grow up and now I'm here. So I need to go up there again.
Yeah, and that's next time we come together, I actually want to show you what what it looks like, the framework for change and why that actually happens. And I'm going to go into that next time. But coming to you, Sophie, I know that you're just on that cusp of like stepping into your business, but have you felt that sense of you've triggered other people's insecurity, so you get back in your box?
Yeah.
Why are we giving our power to these people?
I worked with Ash actually on one of them. Yeah, I had a bit of a pattern with a few people. She happened to be the last one, thankfully. So
yeah. So when you've worked on that, do you notice then that there's a rush of energy then to be more confident out there?
I don't know about that.
What happened?
But I feel more secure in myself. So when I am coaching or like I feel in that moment, I feel the confidence. Any other time though, it's all fugazi.
We need it to be more permanent, right? Yeah. What about you, Ash? Like when you start to speak up, you felt that in the past?
You're asking this question and you know the answer. Yes.
I know it for everybody, but everybody else doesn't know the answer.
Yes, mine was more they know better. They've been there for a long time. What do I know? I should shut up. It's the pedestaling of it.
Yeah. Old chooks.
Yes. So yes, I know the feeling.
It's going to get around. Old chooks and CBF. But anyway, it's a whole nother cocktail.
I can't believe you've been the receiving end, Ash, because you're just so lovely in your energy, and I can't believe people would do that to you.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've had it. Needed it though. Let's be real. That's what I needed at the time. So, yeah. Thank you.
When you've worked through it though, can you see when you've worked through it though, can you get a sense of its benefits for you down the track?
100%. Yeah.
In what way? What stands out for you with what you would do differently with future mentees or whatever they're called, or like what stands out to you?
Being firm, like with my word and what's important to me, not backing down from that, because I think the tendency in the past was to, if it doesn't fit with you, okay, then I'll bend and I'll make room for how it works for you rather than do it for me. So yeah, I guess in a nutshell, the boundaries comes up.
Yeah, that people pleasing,
Yes,
because you went all the way to become a psychologist, right?
Nah.
You quit before you got the
No, I finished my degree. I just didn't do honors and masters.
That sounds really painful.
Didn't want to go down that route. What were you going to say, so?
No, I'm just resonating with what you were saying so much. And then I remembered working with mentors and just their solid idea of what they think that they know what they're doing, but they don't. And they're just like, they're fooling themselves. And it's just this drive to show them, not show them, but to show the world just like the value of really embodying something. I don't know.
And that's where it didn't make sense for me, because I feel like if you're a mentor, then you're celebrating the people that you're working with. Hey, Ness.
Hello, how are we?
Good. We're talking about old chooks.
Of course. I'm so sorry I'm late, guys.
It's all good. It's good to see you. You're here in Australia.
I'm actually at work still.
Yeah, but you're not on the other side of the planet. Yeah. Sorry, Sophie, we cut you off there. So you're saying they're like the mentors that like to be put up on a pedestal?
It feels cult-like what Ash was just saying. Like they're not celebrating you. They want you to like be under their thumb, but they don't.
Or reach a certain point, and then when you start to progress, then that's where the wrath comes through.
For me personally, it was very, very subtle, but that's like an astrological thing for me. But it was very like under the surface. I feel like it's been more overt for you, but it's fun.
Yeah, and so with what we were talking about earlier, one of those laws of the power, I can't remember, but one of those dynamics with power is that the more that you start to speak up, the more you're going to trigger other people's insecurities. The other one then, when you start to move up that scale, is to recognize that if there is actually that mentor that you want in your world, do not show them until you've got what you want. Do not show them, as Ash was saying, that you have the power to surpass them until you're clear in your mind that you're ready to go, because a lot of those times those types of mentors are more insecure than what they will show until you push their buttons, right?
Question then, Claire.
Yeah.
So if they're showing the insecurities, does that mean that you're holding those insecurities within you as well?
What do you think? What does the group think?
What do you think?
I feel like it's
Yeah,
it's my insecurities holding me back more than anybody else's idea of me. I think I'm my own biggest critic. It's like it's my inner voice saying, "Oh, who do you think you are? Like you're just new to this game, and why it's like you don't have anything interesting or new to say that somebody else couldn't say better. Like I haven't had any external people treating me like that. I'm just putting it on myself.
There is no 3-year-old in this universe who has that vocab. At somewhere along the lines, you've had to have picked that up and taken it on board.
Yeah, look. Yeah, okay, yes. Not in this situation, but yes, in every other job,
Yeah,
I've been the little upstart that's like the 20-year-old managing 60-year-olds and doing a
yeah.
better job than them, probably. And so, yes, maybe, yes, I've internalized that from my past experiences, and now I'm doing it to myself in this incarnation of my life.
Yeah. Does anybody want to share anything there with Caitlin? Any ahas or observations? That'll help, Caitlin. How's that for your self-confidence? We got nothing for you.
Well, I'm just like a little black box on the screen, so I'm
Try turning your
should we
camera on.
see?
Neato.
Yeah, well, I can't turn it back on now because you turned it off. It's like banned me from because I'm the naughty child of the. Okay, thank you. Try.
That feels better. Yeah, no, I would definitely be looking at that because and I'm sure everybody here who's done timeline knows that it can be as simple as being 3 years old, doing a pretty picture and putting it on the fridge and somebody saying, who do you think you are? That's your brother's picture. You know, it can be such it's just a limiting decision there that somebody else has authority to even question you.
Yeah. And it's funny because I am aware of it. But I probably haven't done that digging into where it's come from to actually get rid of it.
Yeah. There's plenty of coaches here. They'll do it for you. Zap, or group coach you tonight. Ness, I just want to catch up. There were a couple of questions I asked at the start just to gauge the temperature in the room. I'm curious about, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how the number of clients, like where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Because we've got people in this group that are a 3, a 4, a 6, like the number of clients you're attracting?
I would say it's, to be honest, the last like few months. I mean, I've been away for 2 months, but I've had such an interesting journey this year specifically. Like there was a period of time where for a few months I was attracting like, I was trying to think, between like 30 to 35 a week.
Okay.
And then I went, every time I seem to be going on my own inner journey, my clientele, it just drops off.
Yeah.
And that kind of happened right before I went away for my trip. And now that I've come back, I'd say probably around like 10 or so a week.
Yeah. That's with that with chiropractic care?
Look, Claire, I do everything in my sessions. I don't just do chiro, like that's a combination of chiro and energetic work and NET. So sometimes even NLP, like it's just a mixed bag, really.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, because if I know from my experience in COVID, if I had done any more than like 14 NLP, because I tend to do more breakthroughs than standard coaching. So if I'd done anything more than 14, I would be shaking under the desk. Like 35 makes me want to be sick, but I had to remind myself that it's not 35 breakthroughs, surely.
Definitely not. That's actually really low for a chiropractor, which I'm working on that comparison, but I actually felt quite comfortable seeing around 30.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
More than that would be way too much for me.
Yeah. Because you're doing a lot of the intuitive work, the energy work that goes with it. So
I don't want to see more than that.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And it's good that you know that number. And then the other quick question I was asking everybody was, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how energized do you feel by your clients, or are they more so burning you out?
Again, really good question, because that's been a real big journey this year as well. even like if I compare this, I mean, it's only Monday today, but like today compared to last week, like to be honest, I went back to work after my trip. I had some stuff happen in my personal life, which was kind of, it was really intense and was weighing me down a lot. So when I came back to work last week, I had a good day on Monday, but then the other days I came to work tired, and then I attracted really like people that were just making me really tired, and it felt like we were getting nowhere. There was no like gratitude. There was just complaining, and I kind of was like that in my own life. And then I've had a really amazing breakthrough weekend. And then today's just been like the most energizing day I've had in a long time.
Yay. Okay.
So I'm like, it's just becoming more and more apparent to me how my own internal world reflects who I attract. Like it's, just coming to work today, I was like, whoa, it's really obvious to me. Yeah. When you get a client then that you know, a client inquiry that you know is a no client, then are you noticing then from that internal connection, the internal awareness of how important it is to have integrity for you and the other person to say thank you, no thank you? I think that's probably been a little bit of a battle for me. Like I'm growing out of my people pleasing ways, but I think the pattern that I was in for a while was I'd give people like my recommendation, what like how many visits I think I recommend for them, and what I would do before, if it was a lot of the time a no client isn't going to want to come back multiple times. So I'd give my recommendation, they would say, oh yeah, we'll see how it goes, and then they maybe book in one more time. And instead of kind of standing my ground and saying, I think you need this, I will go along with what they say and be like, okay, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Whereas now I'm like, look, if you're not meant to be here, then if you don't actually want to do what I'm recommending, which is essentially why you come to see me for, yes, healing, whatever it is you're coming in for, but also my advice and my expertise. If someone doesn't want to continue with my recommendation, I think that's just kind of where my no will happen, if that makes sense. Like if they say, oh, I just want to try it out and see how it goes, it's just not what I want to do anymore. Yay! But thank you for sharing that. Yeah, because this is what we were covering earlier, was the strength in saying no to people. Thank you for that. With everything that's just been covered, I think we went around the room, but is there any questions or any ahas, any sharing? No, we just got, how come we haven't got Raven in the room? If we've got a black cat, I'll go get my black Abri anyway.
The door is shut. I can hear meowing, but the door is shut.
She didn't want to come and play. I think I've already covered this one. So what's holding yourself back with the limitations of, worrying about what other people think if you start to speak your truth? Now, really, you all really need to hear this, that your story matters, as Ash has recently put out her story on why she's gone into the industry she has, and that just blew off the charts, right, Ash? Like everybody wanted that personal connection with you.
Yeah, totally. I think everyone was kind of surprised and they didn't realize that journey, and it really resonates with people. So yeah, absolutely agree with this one.
Yeah, because your happy persona is like, yep, I'm here and I've always been here and I'm always been a rock star. And they're like, shit, really? You've had to struggle to get to where you're at? Like,
definitely done that.
Ash,
the vulnerability.
Sorry, when did you put that post up? I'll go watch.
Oh no, so it's just a written one, Denise. I'll send it to you. Instagram.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just making a mental note as well that I want to go and read it because I don't think I've seen it.
Anybody else?
Time. I'll write a book and we can.
It was a good one. I saw it.
It's so funny as well that you're talking about this right now, because I keep getting people telling me I need to do that on my socials.
Yeah. And Brooke's up to writing about Why See Me on her website, so it's so relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep going to start and then I'm like, well, you know what, I'll do it later. Then I'm
This is
like,
too
oh,
hard.
do I know what I want to say? Or what are people going to think? The judgment. Anyway.
So when
Sophie,
you
when
say,
you're looking at it, oh, sorry, I cut you off there, Denise, sorry.
oh, sorry. When you say, why see me, you know, and you go into your story, are we going to go in there like, you know, when I was 5, I was abused, and when I got married, I was beaten, you know, all that kind of stuff? Do people want to hear that?
Well, no, I was
Like,
about
isn't
to
that
ask. I'm going to ask Sophie that. Sophie, with all the mentors and people that you've worked with, what are you looking for when you're looking about me?
I don't read it. I don't read it. But I go by energy.
Sure. Tell me then, what are the qualities in the energy that you're a yes to?
Strong, confident, feminine,
Yep.
assertive, and in integrity.
That's a big one.
Yep. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how strong do you feel in your business?
Me?
Yeah.
Like a 1?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how confident do you feel in your business?
In my business, like a 2.
Oh, we're doing well. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 10, how assertive do you feel?
Like generally, or in my business?
No, in your business.
Okay. 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Typically, we crave, typically, not all the times with the beam, read about me, but typically we're looking for qualities that we want within ourselves. We do this with friends, we do this with partners. It's like, yeah, I crave to have that sense of power and assertiveness, and it's sort of like, well, how assertive do you feel? So that's what tends to hold people back from writing their about me, because they assume that that's what other people are looking for. Did that make sense, or was that a washing machine statement then?
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
What are you looking for, Denise, when you're looking at working with somebody? And I don't mind if it's like a massage person, a chiro, like, what are you looking for?
Well, someone that like greets and smiles at you and looks you in the eye, and definitely their energy, but just that you just can feel it. So that's that initial interaction. If they're shut down or closed off, you can feel it straight away. So I just look for that connection and that look in the eye, perhaps, where they're actually making a connection with you.
Yeah, so I would say then there's an openness, a transparency, a connection, a willingness to work with you.
Yeah.
That's your connection to spirit.
Maybe, yeah. Well, have you ever been to a shop, and you go buy something like McDonald's, or not McDonald's, but just say anywhere, and you go, they hand you the receipt and they go, thank you, have a nice day, and they're just not even looking at you, and you're about to go, oh, thank you, and then you look at them and they're just a robot, and you just go, oh, and walk out. How often does that happen? They're actually not genuine. They don't mean it, because they're just doing whatever they're supposed to do.
Like, it's very transactional. You don't feel seen for you.
Yeah, it's not personal. There you go. Personal. A personal touch.
Do you notice that, Brooke?
The lack of personal touch. I think I try to see the best in everyone, so I'll be like, it's all right, I'll say it back, and that will build them up, and they said
For me, if I was attracting a lot of that, where it was bothering me, that's where I would be looking at my association to openness, and that's just me. That's the way that I work. If it's starting to bother me, then I look at it. Or the other one is, if I'm noticing that I'm attracting in a lot of the weird Nigerian kind of text or stuff, again, I'm going to look at my lack of energetic boundaries and why my team are not protecting that space. So I would be looking more into what's going on with me, that I would even let that penetrate. So that's just me, though. Yep. Anybody else there that's still got to write the about me's, or about to write the about me's now on Instagram? It's homework, home play. You started it, Ash.
Not me.
No, but I really do find that like the reason why I did that was because I had a client who wanted to start her own business and she just kept hitting these roadblocks. I was like, well, if like I literally wrote it to her to be like, these are the things that like you can come up against and then it just ended up people resonated with it. So I think a lot of people want to see themselves within you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Does that mean that you've changed your marketing since then?
Not consciously.
Okay.
Yeah, not consciously, but maybe I should.
There was like an enormous like feedback loop and you're like, oh, that's good. Yes, doesn't this come back to like the mentor thing and getting out there?
What's that?
You're meant like that pattern that's coming in about you being a mentor and your value in inspiring people on Instagram, like that's still coming back to moving in that direction.
Yeah, but this is where I get trumped is the expertise, the knowledge, the imposter syndrome. I know, I can feel your energy being like, God's sake.
That's not Claire.
Yeah. I'll get there.
If like you're coming to masters right now, so like if I don't do it, you will, right? Like
I'll do it.
yeah.
Watch out.
It's coming. Okay.
Funny that you just
Yeah, look
said
out,
that.
Ash, they're coming for you.
I know, right? I quit.
Wait, quitting on my watch.
What were you going to say that about masters then, or?
I was going to say I was at a Chiro seminar all weekend, and I happened to bump into a Chiro student that did the network spinal seminar with me, which is like most people know spinal energetics. It's like the actual chiropractic technique that's really similar to spinal. Anyway, she asked me if she could observe me in clinic, in practice, and I've never had anyone ask me to do that. And like, to be honest, I did straight away have a really good feeling when she asked me. Like, I felt like I, really got along with her and trusted her. But then my initial feeling was like, yes, like full body yes. And then later it was like, oh my God, do I know enough? Am I gonna sound stupid? Is she gonna think I'm not smart enough, I'm not knowledgeable enough, or all that stuff started coming up. So I feel you, Ash.
What did you do to shift it, or is it still sitting there?
Well, that was on Saturday night. And then I had day 2 of the Chiro seminar. And then after that, we had a breathwork event. So I shifted that and a lot of other stuff as well during the breathwork. I feel like a new person today.
Yeah. So was breathwork more than NLP stuff?
As in, like what we did? Can I speak?
In a nutshell, if that
do in the event, or
no, like if the imposter syndrome stuff came up.
I honestly don't even know how to put into words what came up. It was like, it was honestly life-changing for me. Like I haven't actually done a breathwork session like that before. It shifted so much.
Yeah, that life force came back into you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, Sophie, you'll nudge it out of Ash as well, right? You're in masters.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Open book. Do your best.
They'll be ganging up.
With people who know NLP, swish. If that imposter syndrome had come up for me, it would be a very quick swish into the vision of what I've got for my career, who I want to be, the expert. So I would have swished it. I would have acknowledged the weaker aspects, thanked it, blah blah blah. So I would have swished it. And anybody coming into practitioner will eventually know what I'm talking about. So sounds like Ness, you could come up with a really awesome swish breathworky process for your clients.
Ooh, that'd be
That
cool.
sounds really cool.
Yeah. So quickly just see what's happening here with the rest of the slides. There's not actually many more. But I did want to emphasize that what we've just talked about with Ash and Herb about me, people do want to connect in with that sounds like me. When people go on to YouTube and see doctors who are promoting good health, obviously, people will do what the person, so start again. If that doctor is into gardening and are like that person, they're more likely to follow what they're saying versus the one who's actually very technical and more knowledgeable. So you really do want to emphasize your values when it comes to your stories and coming back to that mind map on what it is that you want to deliver. Talking to Brooke today about being that tutor, and Brooke has such a big, generous heart about bringing the love and the compassion back to learning more than the what I would say more of that Asian tiger mum on the excellence and who cares about feelings, let's get the scores. So you want to really, that's all gold what you're doing there with your story on how you got to where you are up to. Now, I'm going to talk really quickly through this about different ideas about posts. I'm not very, very, very active on social media, but I do know what works for a beginner and somebody who wants to generate and manifest in more clients. Let's say I did a post like this and it's bright pink and it's difficult to read and there's no picture of the person. Hands up because I can't hear everybody all at once, but who wants a session with a post from that? Oh, I can hear myself. Can you hear me twice? Oh. Your brain chemistry stops you from hearing yourself, so that's awful. Anyway, nobody wants a session?
No, there's no person there, no personality.
Yeah. Let's say I did a post, $50 for a session to get rid of your business stress and your imposter syndrome. There's a picture though, Denise.
Yeah, but he doesn't look serious.
Yeah. What a creep.
All a gimmick.
I've deliberately found out these corny pictures for you to get that sensory experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I do a post that says, look at me, I've got this cool certificate that proves I can help you.
What certificate is that?
I don't know. Who cares? It's a fancy
No,
la-di-da.
I mean, that's what I mean. I can't see this. What's the certificate mean? Nothing.
There's no
Can't read
sensory
it.
experience.
Hmm.
Let's say I do a post that says fear healing sessions available, fear healing sessions available. Who wants in?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Now I'm actually going to come back to these because it's exactly the response that I wanted. You are all brilliant and experts at what you do, and you forget that people want what they want in their words. So I'm going straight for you, Denise, and saying when you're hosting these events, mediumship with dinner, you're making really, dinner with a medium, you're making really big assumptions that they know what a medium is compared to a clairvoyant, compared to a connecting with spirit, connecting to whatever. And that's why I deliberately, saying to spirit, okay, give me a random word. And they went, sphere healing. I'm like, I should actually create that. But
yeah, you're true, because they don't know what it means. They don't know what chakras are. They don't know what, they don't know what the difference is. You're right.
Yeah. And so that's where even the kinesiology piece of like, who wants kinesiology? I walked past a Chinese herbalist who's got, I do NLP, I do this, I do that, and I was like, you do all of these modalities, but most people don't actually know what NLP is. So what problem do you solve? I have no idea. I'm not, and she's probably brilliant at what she does, but she's not brilliant at her communication. So how did the NLP slide in? But that was one of the big things I wanted to highlight. Can anybody else offer their opinion about like when they see posts offering sphere healing, like how they feel about that?
I think sometimes the modality itself doesn't actually matter. That's kind of the realization I've been having the last few days. Like that's an issue I've had. Like I will just explain the modalities I do, and that doesn't actually mean that much to some people. Sometimes if they've already experienced it, they know what it is, so you don't really need to expand on it too much. But that's something that, it's more focusing on what problem do you solve? Like, what does that person actually get out of sessions with you? A lot of the time people don't actually care. Doesn't actually matter what modality it is.
So do you know really clearly your elevator pitch on what it is that you do?
I'm coming up with that now. So no. But yeah.
No, I'm really
saying is like really relevant to me right now. Law of attraction.
I think that's I think that's the bit I'm at too. It's where I get stuck, I guess, when I go to post on social media, because I'm like, what do I say? And then there's that fine line between, like what we were talking about the other day, Claire, with that like hardcore sales pitch almost. And where's the line between sharing what you can do and how you can help, and being too salesy.
So there's a rejection on the sales. Ash wants to say something.
Do it.
That you do this, Claire, but I guess with social media, I like to use like clients from the week, and like I said with that how I wrote about my journey in business, that was for a particular client, and because I was writing it to her, it then resonated for so many other people. So if you have clients within the week, it's not so much about like, oh, I have to get this messaging right, or I have to, be this all-encompassing thing. Just write to like one person in your post, or like what was a collective theme that came up during the week.
Really enjoyed your posts.
Yeah, because that is, sorry, Ness, that is what I think I try to do, Ash. It's like, oh, how do I write this all-encompassing thing? And then, but then there's this bit too, and like, what do I put in there? And then I just do my own head in and think, oh, well, that's too that's too hard. But you do a good job of the social media stuff, I think. So I really like that approach. Thank you.
I think being more visual in your posts, more visual, like say Ash, like a nuclear, like doing little lives, or they want to see you talking as a person rather than reading something, maybe. They want to see you doing spinal energetics. They want to have a visual of what you do.
I also think, like, what do I like to look at when I go to someone's page? And if it's just a whole bunch of wording, then I kind of go, can't be bothered.
Yeah. So it's not always being, because I am getting to that point, but of what you talk about. But that's exactly right. Like looking at the client success, what gave you energy about working with that particular person? What problem do you solve? Since talking about whenever I've ever asked, I don't often ask for testimonials, but anytime I've ever asked for testimonials, it has been about letting other people know that they can resolve their problems too. It's not promoting me, it's letting other people know that there is a solution. It might not be me, I'm not attached to that, but it's that for me, when I do my Instagram posts, it's letting people know what's possible compared to what the system says you can't do. So let me just go back to these ones. I love this conversation. So I would be encouraging you with your messaging to get away from the vague, big labels, and move into you know me, I've gone 2 steps ahead. Let's say I've done a post that says, you feeling stressed about attracting clients. Imagine what life would be like if your schedule was full of paying clients who value what you do. If I did a post about that, are we now leaning more into like starting to get a bit curious? Take it one step further. Are you feeling stressed about doing everything in your business, yet you're not getting anywhere? My clients succeed at earning 20K months with the process that I actually personally use. Sign up for my effective 5-step process. How much more are we leaning into a yes on that kind of messaging? On it might not be all of it, but there might have been a bit of it that said like, yeah, actually that I want in. Oh, you're all gone quiet on me.
I think I like the other one a little bit.
Yeah, it's a contrast.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the connection. If you're feelings based, you're going to be more drawn into the feelingsy one. It's interesting, Ness, that with masters, and I promise the other people in the group I'll share the video anyway, but in masters we teach spiral dynamics, and as you move up the level, so spiral dynamics is about how you think, and as you move up levels of consciousness. And so when people are moving away from traditionally school and university and the safety of what they tell you should do, then typically someone will move up into a level 5 that's a lot more materialistic, more leadership, more money focused. And those are the coaches that you see that are really pumping the messages about money and how much money you can receive. Typically in this group, on the spiral dynamics level of consciousness, most people in this group are a level 6. So they recognize money isn't the be all and end all. It's great to have, but it's not the driving force. The belonging, the connection, the problem solving side of things is most of the clients that I attract. So you rarely hear me talk about money, because I'm actually going to repel and push away the clients. I don't want to work at a level 4. Those people drive me bananas. So I'm not going to talk to them at that level about long-term safety and so on and so forth. So this is where it comes back to, and these happen to be the slides that I took out, of knowing exactly the values and the qualities of the client that you want to work with, and what drives them more than doing what you should do, because that's what university and psychologists say to do, more than what you should do because some coach on a pedestal has said, you'd be really loud about how much money you manifest. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you have to get clear on who you want to work with, because typically, as I've been upfront with everybody, I've put my hand up to become a master trainer with the Tad James company, because the Australian company didn't have an avenue for it. So I've had to really grin and bear and work through some of the money corporate rah-rah stuff to get that win-win about where I'm going. So when I know I didn't take a breath then, but Caitlin, when you're talking about sales, you're rejecting the 5s, you're rejecting all of that push of that stuff. And that's where you've sort of stopped yourself from communicating at a level that's even above and beyond that, because we're no longer talking to the who do you think you are, so we're now talking at the people who will hear you. I will take a breath. How does that fit with everybody? Your turn. So going back to that slide, Ness, like, does that make sense on like where you were like pushing your threshold?
Yeah, as soon as you got that last one up, I was like, huh.
I was the same, but I thought, is that like a money block?
Yeah, I was like, oh, why did I have
Oh.
Can you put
I
that
got
slide back up?
I got it too. I thought, oh, hang on, this is a bit pushy.
Yeah.
But anyway, it could be my money block too.
No, it's not necessarily a money block. It's the value that you have that's not the driving force. It's not the rule that's moving you forward.
Okay. Yeah.
So then it's interesting that I added the money thing last. It was actually an edit that previously wasn't there. Previously it was a testimonial. So Spirit World's playing with us.
It kind of just, to be honest, it kind of feels really inauthentic. Like for me to read that, because I go to like people on social media who are pushing that, and then it's all like this cushy life, and it kind of feels like if you sign up with this, then you're fulfilling my lifestyle and me not like kind of providing that to you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyway.
No, not anyway, because that was actually part of my dilemma, Ash, was I'm craving a new challenge, and So I went to have a look at some different masterminds on being able to be challenged, and everybody that stood out, well, not everybody, NLP, most people were in their lingerie. And I'm like, I think I said to Crystal or someone, I said, surely we can create coaching with clothes on, masterminds, marketing with clothes. Like, do we have to be on the chair with our butts hanging out? So
I feel like that's a name, coaching with clothes on.
Yeah. And you
Rock up naked.
manifest some clothes.
Hilarious.
I'll get there. I'll make it one day. So I should have a whole hoodie line, right? Like coaches with clothes on, and we just rock up for multi-million-dollar businesses in our hoodies, and yeah, we got our clothes on. It's great. Any questions on anything that's just come up?
Could you put the other one back on that you had before the money?
Yeah, the one that resonated. Just bear
you.
with me, Canva.
I've forgotten what it said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are you feeling
Yeah.
stressed about attracting clients?
So
Imagine
it's more like
what life-
playing to, like, yeah, kinesthetic or feeling based.
Yeah. And Rick, if you knew Rick back in the day, Rick was right into marketing. He was, working with Channel 10 and blah, 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 and so that word imagine, if you ever watch any of Rick's content, listen for it in your pre-training now, everybody. But it's just like imagine. So he's deliberately getting you to disassociate, carry you into the future on imagining you've already got it. So he's really driving into the sensation of what it would be like to have that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like exciting.
Yeah.
Imagine.
But couldn't you do that, Denise? Sorry, my internet, my cable came out. Couldn't you do that, Denise? Like imagine what it would be like to enhance your connection with spirit, and imagine what it would be like to have that connection with loved ones who's crossed over. Like how rewarding would that be? Come and have a meal with us and let's have that conversation with loved ones. Like,
Yeah, more personal, more value in that, because it's an emotion based.
yeah.
For some people, it would attract them. Yes, I see that point.
Sophie, have
Good
you got a
point.
point on that for Denise to get people into mediumship?
Yeah.
Sophie?
Sophie's stuck.
I have blocks to mediumship. So
Ooh.
I just have issues with psychics.
You're in the wrong room, baby.
What I was realizing as you were talking before is the personable sense of familiarity, sense of like understanding who you are and how you do things, and getting like specific on it, and then getting specific on how it benefits those people. That to me is like really tangible for me, and really like feel that. Whereas like what I've noticed with psychics that I've worked with is that like they pedestal themselves. This is my own projection, but they pedestal themselves. And then they isolate themselves, so you're not actually able to see who they are as people. And I trust someone more when I have an understanding of who they are, and I'll open up to them more. My energy will open up to them more. And then like instead of that barrier and that disconnect where they're like trying to hide themselves and then give you the message, it's like, who are you though? Like,
yeah, that's what Denise has been up against, is those chooks who have created that in the industry. That's what Denise is up against. Because somebody who's tender and transparent with what they do, with high levels of integrity, and yet silenced because of that nonsense.
But just say, for instance, in my class, the people that often say within my class, they say, "Oh, but we just love your energy. We love your openness. You're so kind. You're caring, and you nurture us. You don't push us." All those things, but that attracts a lot of people. But then I have maybe some other students that's not challenging enough for them. So maybe it's more, we'll define who I am. I'm just me. So I'm just genuine like that. So that's what attracts people, and they stay. But then there's always that element of someone that's in ego that they want more. And I don't offer that.
mm-hmm.
They don't last, or they just disappear, or they do stay, or some other things happen. But Yeah.
Yep.
I've actually had to throw a couple of people out of my class, and I've had a couple have left recently. And I've never done anything like that before, and it was difficult. But with Claire's help, it was a lot easier. Everything's a lot
But then
easier
how
with
good was the
Claire's
group
help.
after? How good
Everything's
was
a lot
how great
easier
was
with Claire's help. And, you know, changed the venue a week before. It's all easier with Claire's help.
life got a lot easier with that change? It just yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. But I think, yeah, you've got to maybe define on what sort of clients you want.
Yeah.
What you're calling in, because you're going to call in all sorts. You're going to call in those old crows that sit in the corner and go, rah, 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 you're not good enough. But you're also going to call in people that are genuine. So I think maybe if you just stick true to yourself, and everything else just falls into place the way it's meant to.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that Sophie likes to look in dark corners at dark shadows of people? Sophie, with your psychic, like, I see.
It's got darker as the night's gone on.
Oh, true. So I'm mindful of the time, and I don't want to take up your time. I could chat for hours, but I just want to quickly swing to Brooke and just highlight to you, when you think about starting up your tutoring business and the bio that you put up on Instagram. I'm Brooke's #1 follower, her only follower right now, so you can't all see it. But I think you said something there, Brooke, that I deliver online tutoring. Can you get a sense of how more, my wording is going to be not great, how better it could be to change the wording on that to being direct about tutoring VCE business to gain confidence in their results, or something, like changing the language to what they get?
Yeah, definitely being actually specific, like this is the outcome they'll get from it. Yeah, I'm over here marinating. I'm like, all these things in my head coming up now and about me, and I'm like, oh. And then I just got a message from Jackie Bailey's mum that I tutored this year, and she's like, yeah, I'd love to give you a testimony thing, which is awesome. But then she's also like, I don't know if Emerald's going to support Bailey doing economics next year online, because it's like costing them so much money. And I was like, it'll be fine. But it's all good. But yeah, no, I feel like I want to play with the wording a bit more, and even make it a bit more like me. Like, I think before we were all talking about, you know, the old chooks and how they've kind of influenced and shut some of us down a bit. I think I've still got sometimes in the back of my mind, like some of the older teachers that had been teaching for a few decades when I was working there, and I came in and was building awesome relationships with kids, and then they were like, oh, well, you're just the young teacher that, you know, it's just because you're young and you're lenient and things like that, and then you just kind of doubt yourself. So I think I'm like, oh, what would someone like that say if they saw me being enthusiastic and compassionate in this? But I'm like, no, that's who I am. So yeah, I think making sure that comes through in my wording and not being afraid of the judgment. Yeah, it's been a really interesting reflection on that.
Yay. Yeah. Start to speak to the clients you want to work with. Yeah. Awesome.
What's your page called, Brooke?
Yeah, we'll follow you.
Miss Safici Online Tutoring.
What is that?
What
Go look it up. Miss Safici Online Tutoring. Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. You got a couple more followers.
Backwards, but good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Now you can all give me feedback. I was like, oh, just yeah, it's kind of nice slowly having some people that can like, they're like, oh, that post, like maybe, you know, maybe not, or like, oh yeah, no, it's really good, and then get it out there to people.
Yeah, no, we expect the best, isn't that right, Caitlin?
Yes. Yes, we do.
No pressure.
You have 3 followers.
I'm
now.
more than happy to have a read of things too, if you would like a second opinion on stuff.
Thank you. That would be awesome. Be really good. I value that very much.
Yay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we've got NLP together, you both, so that'd be a good connection there. I'm just going to quickly check in lastly there, re-emphasizing that it's not the tall poppy syndrome. It's important to look at your beliefs, your mindset. It does come back to you and your limitations, as we've already explored today, about recognizing how much you can make a big difference to your outer world if you make a change in the inner world. And the number one belief that I would be clear and transmuting is the need for clients. Yeah, does anybody know why you get rid of the need for clients?
The repellent.
Yes. Or when you need
Sounds a bit
something,
desperate.
you don't need anything. When you need something, you actually get sent what you don't need. Something like
Yeah. So it's definitely,
you're pulling in what you want, but you're not pulling in what you know what I mean.
yeah. So if you've got a need, you're going to pull in more reasons to need. And so
Need
that's
it.
where
Yeah, that's
if you're going to get stuck in that loop of like, I need clients. Yeah, you're asking for trouble. So yeah, I'd be shifting that well and truly to the choice to have clients.
And I feel like anytime you have a need, whether it's for clients or just anything else you're manifesting, anytime it feels like you need it or you're desperate for it, it's almost like you're making your happiness conditional.
Yeah.
I'm not happy unless I have this. And then it's just pushing that thing further and further away.
Yeah. Be aware of that neediness trigger. So I don't think there's actually many more points that I wanted to make. You guys are fast learners. You grasped it pretty quickly. The next piece here was what I was asking you to think about, the people that you do want to work with and what you do say to yourself when you have one of those brilliant sessions with somebody. Like, what did you say to yourself? What did you feel? What did you see? What did you hear? And being able to really expand on the qualities and your strategy that makes you feel good, especially when you're writing Instagram posts, when you're writing your website content, into being able to tell the story that matters to you, that makes you feel good. So very, very quickly going around the room, I just want to get this a bit more clearer before we wrap things up. What problem do you solve? I'm going to start with you, Ash. What problem do you solve?
How to help people get out of their own way.
Yep, cool. I would agree with that. Ness, what problem do you solve?
I have a list right now that I'm trying to narrow that down to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to come back to you on that.
Caitlin, in your kinesiology, what problem do you solve?
Probably overcoming stress and overwhelm.
Yep. Burnout.
Yeah, burnout.
Yeah. Brooke, do you know what problem you solve?
Sort of. I think with mine, it's very much like getting the students through their final years of school, and with confidence. Yeah, kind of narrowing it down a bit. But yeah, my aim is to really get them through without all that pressure and stress and burden that the education system puts on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just listed 5 topics for an Instagram post, right, Ash?
You're expecting my first post tonight?
Denise, do you know what problem you solve?
I don't solve problems. I plant seeds and encourage people to see that the issues are within themselves, not outside of them.
So you do, so I'm in a barren land and you plant the seed. My barren land isn't so barren anymore. What problem do you solve?
All right, in a nutshell, I help people see within themselves their own heart can solve their own problems, not someone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I help people heal their hearts.
Any gentle observations for that group to help Denise with that miscommunication?
I was distracted by my dogs, Denise. Can you repeat what you said in that last little bit?
How do I solve problems? I help people.
What problem you solve?
A problem myself. I help heal their hearts. That the problem isn't outside of them, it's within them.
Right.
To me, there's a really big miscommunication with where
That.
with what problem you think you solve versus the service that you provide. That could just be me though.
Ask Caitlin, she might have a better response.
Yeah, Caitlin's got all the answers tonight.
I was actually just thinking, Denise, having recently had a session with you, whether part of the problem you solve is you're like building people's self-confidence or like faith and belief in themselves. So yeah, I'm just trying to think about how to word that too, but it's almost like the problem people come to you with is a lack of trust in themselves or in the world, or like faith in themselves, or a lack of maybe spiritual direction. And so what you're doing is connecting them with that spirit and giving them that confidence
See, it's a hard.
in themselves.
It feels like you're connecting them back to their knowing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the healing the heart has like there's something that needs to be fixed kind of feeling with it. So yeah, I agree with Caitlin. It feels like your problem solving is to like get people back to feeling empowered and trusting in their knowing.
In their spiritual knowing?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's part of the messaging, Denise, is like that's so valuable.
Very hard.
Yeah. You know, I do believe that you help people lift people's spirits in the sense that they've been carrying a heavy heart, and then you help them come away feeling a lot lighter with their spiritual connection.
I help people lift their spirits and give them hope with their light, spiritual connection. I give them that hope. There's something there. I help lift their spirit.
I'll quickly check. There's about 2 more slides. Let's just make sure everyone's got a bit of clarity here. When you think about energizing clients, Caitlin, I think your description of who you want to work with stands out for the whole group. Like, do you remember what you said in the coaching session once about that?
God, you're really putting me under the pump tonight. I say a lot of things, Claire, like using a lot of words in many conversations. So you might need to be more specific than that.
Yeah. You had said that there's a equal co-creation and equal expenditure of energy. Like you said that there was a
I think
of your batteries working with each other.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess when I work with people whose journeys resonate with mine, then I feel like I come out of those sessions having both been in service and also having been served in a way. Like, so it's a communion, or like I feel just as energized by those sessions, and I feel like I get just as much out of them because confirming my journey and also teaching me and challenging me to think about things in a different way. And yeah, they're the clients that you sort of come away from having the biggest buzz, because yeah, there's that resonance of energy, I think.
Thank you. Does anybody want to add to that, or we just all nick that? Yeah, Sophie's nodding. Your messaging to work with a yes client, is that getting clearer after today's discussion?
Yeah.
Ness, what do we
Yes.
have to do to get a yes client?
I think I first have to figure out who my ideal client is and what problem I solve.
Yeah. Because the truth is, like, if you're carrying a lot of different, a lot of different balls in the air, juggling a lot of different balls, being the expert at lots of different things versus niching down to be the expert at that is so much more valuable for the person sitting in front of you. That A class kind of client, like, you have to have that discernment and expertise in yourself to pick a lane and come out of the beginning of a business. I'm in all the lanes, so maybe everybody likes me. It's like you need to have that integrity for that person. Thinking about somebody who would work within fertility, and it's like, yes, I'll pay you the big bucks, just solve this number one problem for me, versus the fertility person who also does a bit of hypnosis and a bit of IVF and a bit of doulaing and a bit of this, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, pick a lane.
100%. I know it's funny because I definitely had that realization. I think we probably chatted about it earlier this year, and I consciously was like, yep, I agree, but subconsciously I was still absolutely trying to people please, like trying to be I guess available for everyone.
Yeah. So it's about with integrity, letting that go. I could be really direct and saying it's really arrogant to think that you can fix everybody's everything, and it's sort of like, pick a lane.
And I've gotten to the point where I've been a bit sick of my own shit, excuse my language. And I'm like, no, I actually I don't want to just see everyone anymore.
Yeah.
That's
a good place to be.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Is there any other questions or ahas?
No, you've done well.
Thank you. I had every intent.
I actually have one question, because I
Sure.
have been like brainstorming about who my ideal client is, and I don't know if this is just my own ego getting in the way, but it honestly is just people that have a lot of I guess life experiences that are similar to mine. And I don't know if that's like, is that just my own ego getting in the way, trying to attract more people like me, or
that's your intuition?
Like, I have a huge craving to help people that have been on a similar life path to myself.
Yeah, that sounds like that divine intuition's leading you onto that really beautiful light path. Yeah, absolutely.
What did you say to me, Claire? Your niche is where you were at 3 years ago, or like?
Yeah, I would definitely say that you're like, when Denise and I do mediumship, we know that spirit will, back in the good old day when I would be on stage with Denise, spirit who had more of a kinship to whatever I was into, gardening, let's say, then I would get those readings, whereas Denise had more of a kinship with the animals, so she would get those readings. So Denise is phenomenal at getting names in her readings. That's not a focus of mine. And so typically I would be trusting your intuition and your life experience, that who you were 2 or 3 years ago is your ideal client. The problem that you were trying to solve back then is your ideal client. And so, yeah, so that I would 100% be looking at the expertise that you've got within you to say, yeah, I know 100% I can solve this, because I've solved it for myself.
That's so funny as well, because I probably had almost like a dark night of the soul about 3 years ago. So that's kind of what, has pushed me to where I am today in a good way.
Yeah, so that would be ideal. Somebody, if I don't have, but if I had a sister who's going through a dark night of the soul, it'd be go see Ness, because she knows what it feels like. She knows how to get out of that cocoon. She knows what it feels like to be so broken by the external world. And she can save you 3 years of shit and give it to you in a couple of sessions.
Oh,
Done.
I feel a
Easy.
bit better about where I'm going.
Oh, that's perfect.
Any other questions? Sophie in the shadows?
Just some feedback. I feel empowered and excited, less of a child and less like, I don't know, wanting to hide. Okay, all right.
It's time to come out and play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a bit more empowered and a bit more focus and a bit more definition
Yay.
after tonight. So got a bit more, I'm going to go do this now.
Charge. How are you feeling, Brooke?
I'm just over here marinating. I've been playing with Stripe today, my website, Instagram. We're having a good time, but I think I need to like rest and then restart tomorrow. But I'm feeling a lot more positive about my business and where I'm going, and just get rid of all the judgments, because something amazing is coming out of it. And I mean, just how everything's flowed this year, like getting a random Facebook message from my mum saying, yeah, my kid, the one that hates teachers, he really likes you, wants to work with you. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think I just keep coming back to that. Like, it'll happen and it'll work out. And yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens with, you're going to have a few more followers tonight.
Yeah, I've requested, so is that.
Me too.
Thank you. And I'll change my bio. My stupid bio.
Caitlin, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I've got like a little note of probably like honing in a bit on my niche. So I'll go back and look at my website content to see if that's coming through clearly enough. I really liked Ash's idea on, speaking to one person in those sort of specific videos for social media. I think that will help. So they were my big two takeaways, I think.
Yay. Yeah.
It's been really helpful.
Yay.
And just nice to share.
Yeah.
Not feel like you're on your own too.
Yeah, it's nice. Everybody just contributing. It's been beautiful. How are you feeling, cheeky Ash? You've stayed in the center of my screen.
I'm feeling good. I think I like the start where it was like, my thinking is like, what's going to get me to that yes, like the 10 yes. And trusting the nudges and the invitations of the group work and mentoring and other ideas of how to get me to more of the end of the scale.
Yeah. And if you don't do it, then masters will shove it down your throat.
Well, that's exactly like in the NLP. I mean, Denise, you'll remember this, like the practitioner, when I was so terrified of going on a podcast and you guys whipped that out of me within like 2 weeks.
And she did it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I fully believe that it will, you guys will get rid of that in a heartbeat. So thank you in advance.
Well, I had every intention of doing like hot seat coaching, but it's turned out to be conversational coaching, which feels much nicer, that everybody got the spotlight put on them, unless somebody comes away going, Claire didn't do what she said she'd do. But what I do want to share with you all, it's an invitation if you fill it out or not, it's completely up to you. A little side story is that me, however many years ago, pulling my hair out, probably breaking my relationship with David, worrying about how to get clients, I signed up $15,000 for clients in abundance crap. And these guys are quite arrogant and direct. Once they had my money, they did not have any consideration. I struggled with, anyway. But what I have done is I kept my $15,000 questionnaire, and I am going to share it with you.
$15,000 questionnaire. Wow.
Well, it was $15,000 for 6 months of coaching, and I pretty much
What a questionnaire.
cried every day trying to understand what they were trying to get me to do, and I couldn't. And we had pictures all over the wall of like, they want you to do this, which means that, which means it, and it was just the most overwhelming yuck experience. Which has, like what Ash was talking about, it taught me what not to do, hence why there's space for everybody to talk and be considered and to be heard and to be valued in this space.
What led you to that course, Claire? I'm intrigued.
Just because I could tell that I was spiraling out of control in the way that I was sort of at David, like, how do I do this? What do I do? Their name, Clients in Abundance, was what drew me to it. And the testimonials is what drew me to it. Yeah, it was a teaching for me in when they did the sales call. I don't think I got an opportunity to ask anything. They just, yeah. You bring back bringing trauma.
Are they still in business? Are they still around?
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess the only reason I'm sharing that with you is like what Ash was saying, or Ness was like, your client is you 3 years ago. It was like, that wasn't me 3 years ago, but it's like that. So the two things that driving me forward with my business, to be completely transparent with you, is that I see that NLP was channeled in by Richard Bandler. I see that it has such phenomenal energetic gifts to bring to this world. I see that when he channeled it in the 70s, Earth has since sped up, and the empaths, the level 6s and 7s and 8s that we are, need to come together to bring NLP and the empowerment of what's to come. Like, that's why we've come in as ADHD and empaths, is to collapse the system of what's not working to bring that forward. So for me, I keep saying for me, but NLP is something that I want to be just so much teaching and creating subgroups of what NLP can do for people, so that the empaths have a voice and the tools to be able to get that out there, instead of the suit wearing marketing clients in abundance people. That's not where the direction is, but that's what I see, the gifts in everybody. And it's sort of like no one's created a spiritual space for people to explore the gifts in NLP, the higher levels of consciousness. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
I'm so not going to sleep now. I'm all revved up. So when I've been able to expose myself to the heavy duty, really difficult, direct people, and it's sort of like, let me bring that in, let me soften it, let me put some consideration into what people need, and then deliver that in my business to a broader audience. So that's my honest direction. So that's why I celebrate finally being able to share that questionnaire with people who get it. There's some really good, valuable. What I'm trying to say to you is that there are definitely sharks in the pools that we're all swimming in, and sharing this questionnaire will give you an insight into what those sharks are doing to then be able to position yourself where you won't be bitten, where you'll be swimming in the nice warm barley waters. Is that making sense?
So you're kind of giving us what to look out for and be prepared and ready for it.
Yeah, getting you to be a bit more switched on, because we were all taught as empaths to consider the other person, and I'm getting you to give yourself permission with this questionnaire to put yourself first, and to get really clear on that logical head stuff, not the heart stuff, on what you want to create. So, but in this supportive space, gosh, I probably sound very confused, but is it making any sense?
I think so. I think it is to me. You've just got to like put the empathic side to the side for a little bit and just go straight for the gun, straight there. Bang.
Yeah.
And
Let
then
me
come back
share
to
with
him.
you, in the questionnaire that I'll send out, it asks you for your bleeding neck problem that you solve. So somebody's having extreme problems, you know, they've had their neck cut, they're about to get divorced, and people in higher levels of coaching industry really have really done the work in understanding what is the problem that you solve, and they get you to really stream in on how does that keep that person awake at night, and all of this stuff that may be a bit heavy to consider, but when you've actually looked at the really giving yourself the value to look at what problem you solve for people, then when it comes to your marketing and the confidence that you show up for people, it's not wishy-washy anymore. You know that when you've got a woman who's going through the dark night of the soul and you can get her back up on her feet, you have saved her from a miserable divorce, PTSD, and her children having ongoing suffering. Like, you've looked at it and you know it. So when you show up for the session, there is so much of that strength and integrity and assertiveness in the knowingness of what you deliver. Does that make sense? Completely shifted the energy of the room. But I want to share that questionnaire with you to push yourselves to push yourselves to have a look at really what is it that you're doing, if you're serious about the businesses that you want to create. How's that sounding to you, Sophie?
Fuck yes.
Thank you.
Very inspiring and really necessary. Like, no more wishy-washy. Like you recommended I read that book, 48 Laws of Power, or whatever it's called. I've been listening to the audiobook and it's like already makes complete sense to me that you have to play the game and you have to be really assertive with what you're doing and make decisive actions. You can't just be complacent. You can't just people please. You can't just do things in order to like get an outcome for someone else. You got to play the fucking game. And this feels
so
really
nice. So nice doesn't get you to not far enough sometimes. Just being nice doesn't cut it sometimes.
It's like being nice and wrapping it in a bow and being really lovely with it. But also like getting that, I'm just going to use a weird metaphor, like getting that package and being able to ship it across the world and getting it effective. So the person who opens it on the other end is like, oh my God, what an amazing treat. But you've gone and I'm mixing metaphors, but you've gone and you've really been able to deliver that. And that other person feels like they're getting something incredible from it. But at the same time, you're the one who's been effective. You haven't you've actually allowed yourself to go there rather than you only get so far by being people pleasing. That makes sense.
Yeah. Denise, you wouldn't have been able to hold your energy in a space like this if you hadn't been open and nice and confident in what you do. So that's already there. But it's then having that confidence to hold the space for others, because there's such strength in the knowing of what you do that any Kathleen's or whatever her name is like, don't worry, team, she's fucked off. You're in a safe space. Like, there's the people here with integrity are well looked after. So it is nice, but it comes at an empathy towards the greater goal, not the empathy per individual.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
What's going on with your nose, Claire? Who's
Spirit
talking to
came in
you?
real strong. Yeah.
I was about to ask the same thing. I was like, oh no, the nose is going again.
So can you send
Need
me
to say something?
So Ash, what was that?
I was just saying to Soph, can you send me a text of what that book is?
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll send you. Sophie, do you agree that the Google Talk was a lot easier to listen to than the audiobook though?
The Google Talk was fun. The audiobook's more fun.
Yeah, the audiobook's 14 hours.
Oh,
20.
14 hours.
I've never
Wow.
done an audiobook. Maybe
No.
Oh, really?
this one.
I don't know. I'd probably fall asleep.
No.
No.
You do
Well,
it,
then-
you listen to it when you're doing all that crap you don't want to do, like the dishes, and
Oh, okay.
then
okay.
it's
That's what
a
these
bit
little
more
guys
exciting.
are for.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you everyone. I'll put those links up. That I haven't got a Facebook page. The messenger's there. It's working the way that it works. So share Instagrams or share links and whatever else. I will share that questionnaire. It's there for you to play with. You can grin at the $15,000 that I paid for it. One day I'll get coaching on that, but not right now. It's a motivator.
Oh, thank you, Claire. I appreciate this.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll see you on the 26th on a Thursday night. And I want to talk about the what's not the Claire show, but I want to focus on what's getting you stuck in business. And so whether that's boundaries or communication or people pleasing, I want to chat to you guys about that. So that's the next time we come together.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Sounds very good.
Thank you.
You're very
Thanks,
welcome.
lady.
Well, sleep well.
Yeah, you too. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.